Zex stood alone in the inn room, setting down his shield and removing his armor. A heavy sound echoed as he did so. The room, which he had used for a long time, contained only the bare essentials. Yet, for Zex, it was a place where he could find peace. Today's battle had ended safely, with no one missing. He was grateful that all his comrades were unharmed. The night breeze wafting through the window brushed against his short hair, exposing the nape of his neck. Zex gazed at the small flower arranged in a cup by the window, its white petals swaying in the wind. So cute. A smile naturally spread across his face. Cute. It was a word he often heard when he was younger. They would stroke his chestnut hair, saying it was so soft, or comment on how his honey-colored eyes sparkled, or how he had a beautiful face like a girl. Zex had liked those words. But as he grew taller and began wielding a sword, no one said those things anymore. Now, he stood in front of his comrades, taking the brunt of enemy attacks, creating openings for counterattacks. This body was a shield to protect his friends. The tavern downstairs was filled with the lively voices of adventurers, the scent of food and drink wafting through the air. The other three, aside from Zex, were already seated. Logan, who placed his great sword against the nearby wall, along with the magician Lily and the healer Noah. That was a piece of cake today. Logan raised his cup with a laugh. Well, of course, it was us. As Lily shrugged and twirled her finger, it seemed like remnants of magic lingered in the air. Noah smiled wryly. It's been a long time since the four of us, all around the same age, started teaming up. The days of taking on quests together had become second nature. Zex took his seat, recalling the battles from today. Logan might seem to swing his great sword recklessly, but he reads the flow of battle and makes decisions better than anyone else. He's 2 years younger than me, but he's a dependable leader. However, after avoiding a wide swing, his step forward is just a fraction late. When that habit shows, his desire to charge ahead becomes stronger. Today, his reaction to the monster coming from the side was a moment too slow. So Zex stepped in first and thrust his shield forward. That habit hasn't changed. I just need to support him, Zex thought to himself. Logan's short hair swayed with every laugh, and I had somehow started to follow the fiery red color, like the flames of a hearth, with my eyes. His low voice, sturdy build, and ruggedly handsome face, with just a hint of droop at the corners of his eyes, somehow draw me in. Logan emptied his cup and let out a sigh. I'm glad today's job wrapped up quickly. I've got the night free now. Shall we wander around the town a bit? You're not going to some woman's place again, are you? When Lily said this with an exasperated tone, Logan shrugged. What's the big deal? Whether I sleep at the inn or spend time with a woman, it's all the same. Noah remained silent, tilting his cup. Zex quietly listened to their conversation. Aren't you going to have some fun, Zex? Logan asked this, and my heart skipped a beat at the sudden gaze of his green eyes. There was a brief pause. It's not for me. Even at 29, I still had no one like that. I could only wish to connect with someone who truly understood me. I see. With just that short reply, Logan lowered his gaze to his cup and returned to his usual demeanor. I noticed Lily looking at me with concern. She must have noticed. I wonder about Logan. He might be aware, or he might not be. Either way, his attitude doesn't change. Perhaps he's deliberately letting me know that there's no hope for Zex's love. Still, he treats Zex with care, not denying him, but valuing him as a comrade. I feel grateful for that. It makes me believe that I belong in this place. If I were a woman, or if I still looked as cute as I did when I was younger, would Logan see me differently? But here I stand in this body, able to face my comrades. I can take hits and be a shield. I can protect. That is my role, and it's my pride. Even so, I couldn't stop the quiet pain that welled up in my chest. In the forest. Having finished off the monster in a clearing among the trees, Zex let out a sigh. The afternoon sun illuminated the fallen beast. The roars that had echoed moments ago faded, and the heat of battle gradually subsided. Beneath its corpse, I saw a small flower crushed. I gently shifted the monster's body. I felt a faint heat in my left arm and looked to see a tear in my armor. It was a shallow wound from the midst of the fight. Show me. Logan pulled me closer. You're hurt. He said that with a furrowed brow. It's not a serious injury. I tried to convey that, but he wouldn't listen. Noah, keep an eye on this guy later. Got it. It's not worth all this trouble. Zex let out a soft sigh. Logan continued. Zex, you take too many risks. Is that so? Today, that guy came at you from the side, deliberately putting himself in harm's way. Don't worry about me so much. Zex nodded. But I'm the shield. Saying that. Don't act like it's okay for the shield to get hurt. He replied in a strong voice, and Logan himself slightly widened his eyes in surprise. Zex blinked in disbelief. What will you do if you die? Logan said bluntly, averting his gaze. Perhaps he was concerned about me as his shield, always worrying like this. Being a man who pays close attention on the battlefield, he must have noticed Zex too. Thank you, I'll be careful. My heart warmed, and I lowered my eyes. After reporting that day's request to the guild, Lily returned to her room first, while Noah said he was going out to replenish the herbs. At the usual tavern, Zex was sitting across from Logan, drinking. Hey, Zex. A male voice called out, and I turned around. Ah. Kurd. He was a fellow spear wielder from my hometown. He seems calm now. But as a child, he was quite mischievous and often teased me without any ill intent. Kurd, having received the consent of the two, sat down next to Zex. It's been a while. Are you still around here? When Zex said that, Karuto laughed. I think it's about time to move on. My dad is getting older. And there's talk of going back to the countryside to take over the farm and the house. I see. Karuto ordered some drinks, and the three of them exchanged updates and gossip for a while. In the midst of that, Karuto glanced at Zex. But really, you've changed a lot. Changed in what way? Well, you were cuter as a kid. Small, with silky hair, and a face like a girl. Zex frowned. Stop talking about that. What? You used to blush and get all happy about it. Zex felt embarrassed. That was a long time ago. Karuto laughed and threw an arm around Zex's shoulder. But even now, your features are still handsome. You're still a cute one. Stop it. Zex said, but Kato showed no signs of concern. Logan silently set down his cup, the hard sound echoing in the air. What's with you? Back in the day, you used to get all happy when I stroked your hair. Kato said this as he gently ruffled Zex's hair. A loud noise came from across the table. Startled, they looked up to see Logan standing. Logan? When Zex called out. I'm heading back. I've had too much to drink. He said this as he grabbed his sword and walked towards the stairs. Did I do something wrong? Kato stood there, stunned. I felt like I was being glared at. Hearing that voice, Zex felt a chill deep in his chest. The past where he had been happy to be called cute, despite being a man, was now known. Perhaps Logan found that side of him unpleasant. Even though he thought Logan wasn't that kind of person, the unease wouldn't fade away. After parting with Kurd, Zex paused in front of Logan's room on his way back to his own. He was still thinking about what had just happened. And he wanted to discuss the new request as well. When he knocked, the door opened. "Come in." At Logan's invitation, Zex stepped inside. The room was dimly lit. On the desk lay an unfinished bottle of alcohol. Silence lingered for a moment. Just as Zex was about to bring up the request, Logan, sitting on the bed, spoke up. "You should retire soon." For a moment, Zex didn't understand what he was being told. As Zex stared, Logan continued without looking away. "I've thought this for a while. If you keep being an adventurer, you'll push yourself too hard. Retire, find a job, or go back to your hometown." It's true that he no longer had the same agility as before. However, his ability to read the enemy's movements was better now. He still wanted to continue being an adventurer. Being a shield to protect everyone is how he sees himself now. He didn't want to lose these days of fighting alongside his comrades. And above all, he wanted to be by Logan's side. "I can still go on." Finally, those words escaped his lips. But Logan shook his head. "Starting tomorrow, you're out of the team. You need to stop being an adventurer." "Logan. That's all there is to say. Leave." "Logan, please." Zex squeezed the words out, but Logan remained silent, his brow slightly furrowed. The silence spoke volumes, declaring that the conversation was over. The leader's decision is absolute. Zex hung his head, fists clenched tightly. He stayed like that for a while before standing up and leaving the room. He couldn't remember how he made it back to his room. Before he knew it, he had collapsed onto his bed. Zex simply lay there, still. Thoughts of why and when flooded his mind. He had believed he was seen as a reliable comrade. But had he unknowingly become a burden? The nights we laughed together at the tavern and the moments spent around the campfire come rushing back to me. I can no longer be by Logan's side to protect him. Just thinking about it sends a chill deep within my chest. I close my eyes. Sleep feels utterly out of reach. The next morning, the sounds of people moving about drift in through the open window. Zex sits on the edge of the bed, staring blankly out the window. There's a knock at the door, and when I open it, it's Lily and Noah. I invite the two of them into the room. Lily stands with her arms crossed, looking restless, while Noah remains quietly still. "Zex, you surprised me by coming so suddenly." Lily continues. "What are you going to do now? Are you going to stop being an adventurer?" "I don't know. I haven't thought about anything yet." With that answer, Lily sighed. She watched Zex for a while, but then, "Logan will definitely regret this." They said it with a hint of anger. "If you let go of it, it'll only hurt more." Noah's murmured voice reached him, but Zex couldn't grasp the meaning of those words. "If anything comes up, just let me know. You've taken care of me, Zex. I might need to rely on you again." He smiled at Lily's voice. "Yeah, thank you. Just call me any time." After seeing the two off, Zex let out a sigh. What should I do from here? For now, he had no intention of returning to his hometown. He would take on requests alone for a while, but Logan's words lingered in his mind. He was told to quit being an adventurer. There must be a reason behind that statement. Perhaps he wasn't cut out to be an adventurer, even if he didn't realize it himself. Maybe I really should consider retiring. That thought surfaced, and a heaviness settled in his chest. From that day on, he took on requests that could be handled by just one shield bearer. Tasks like slaying monsters at a manageable level or foraging for mushrooms deep in the forest. With the savings I had, I could manage for a while. But I moved forward, carrying the weight of my loss as I tried to adapt to my new life. I didn't team up with anyone else because I thought I might retire soon. The cobblestone street was lined with weapon shops and tool stores, bustling with people under the midday sun. Zex took a set of fangs he had collected from monsters to one of the tool shops. They were said to be useful for potion making. The middle-aged shopkeeper was a familiar face. "You're working hard. Have you gotten used to being on your own?" "Yeah, I'm managing somehow." As Zex replied, he pulled out his spoils from his bag. The shopkeeper appraised them, handed him some money, and then said, "Logan came by the other day." The mention of that name made my heart skip a beat. I had said my goodbyes to him. He had warned me, "Don't go back to being an adventurer," and that was the last I heard from him. It became difficult to face him, so I moved to another inn. Now, even if I spotted him from a distance, I wouldn't call out to him. Still, I found myself longing to return to Logan's side. Zex felt pathetic for this yearning. "I heard about you. When I mentioned you were taking on requests alone," he clicked his tongue. Did he care about me? He was a man with a strong sense of responsibility. However, it seemed he was dissatisfied with my continued life as an adventurer. When I left the group, I followed the leader's words. But now, things were different. I would retire eventually, but I still hadn't made up my mind to lay down my sword. After leaving the shop, I returned to the inn and headed towards the guild, noticing the commotion. Adventurers were rushing out of the guild in a flurry. I have a bad feeling about this. Zex approached one of the guild staff, her face tense with worry. "Is something wrong?" Zex. There's been a flood. A monster flood has occurred. Exclamation point. A monster flood, it's a phenomenon where a large number of monsters surge forth from their habitats. It happens once every 10 years or so, often bringing devastating damage to nearby villages and towns. Where should I go? To the south gate. The guildmaster is calling for everyone. I checked my gear. Everything was in order. Zex took off running. At the gate, the guildmaster was shouting orders loudly. The gathered adventurers quickly divided roles and formed teams. However, that was just a guideline. Inside the cave, they would have to coordinate with those nearby in an impromptu manner while fighting. The vast cave was filled with countless monsters and battling adventurers. Illuminated by torches and magical light, countless shadows danced on the rock walls. The roars of monsters and the clashing of metal echoed, and my vision was constantly shifting. Zex was coordinating with the adventurers fighting nearby, attacking with his shield and sword. He absorbed the monster's attack with his shield, creating an opening for his allies' swords to strike. Suddenly, a familiar flash of red hair caught his eye. "Zex." It was Logan's voice. "Logan. Is everyone here?" Amidst the surrounding chaos, Zex shouted. "You two stay back and provide support." Logan replied while cutting down a nearby monster. Zex signaled to the adventurer he was working with and moved to support Logan. A familiar camaraderie in battle. As expected, this feels so natural. Zex fought as a shield for Logan, ensuring he could fight easily and stay safe. As he blocked the claws coming from the front with his shield, Logan seized the opportunity to slash at the enemy. With support from Lily and Noah in the back, they held off the enemy's advance. At that moment, a massive swing from the monster came crashing down. Thinking it was Logan's habit, Zex braced himself for the enemy's attack. In that instant, an attack from an unexpected direction struck. A nearby adventurer couldn't withstand it and was thrown back by the enemy. Just as Zex prepared for the impact, Logan intercepted the enemy with his great sword and cleaved it in two. "Sorry, you saved me." "Yeah." Zex spoke, and a brief reply came back. It was a relief to see that Logan was safe as well. From that point on, Logan's fighting was extraordinary. He stepped in with such sharpness that it masked his usual habits, swinging his great sword with fluid grace. Zex also readied his shield and sword, continuing the fight. I couldn't tell how much time had passed. Before I knew it, the number of monsters had dwindled, and the battle in the cave had come to an end. Cheers! Lily raised her voice cheerfully. At our usual tavern, the four of us clinked our glasses and swallowed the liquor down our throats. Welcome back, Zex. Welcome home, Lily said happily, and Noah smiled. After the flood had ended, Zex returned to his comrades at Logan's request. Even if we kick you out of the team, you still put yourself in danger, it's pointless. Logan muttered quietly. Is my way of fighting really that reckless? Zex met Logan's gaze. You're way too overprotective. Just because you're the shield doesn't mean you can think it's okay to get hurt alone. That's my role. You sacrifice yourself too much. I know your habits and have fought with that in mind. I couldn't stop you from getting ahead of me either. At those words, Zex let out a small sigh and said, but at that time, I was neglecting to watch out for myself. Only a little. Besides, rather than letting you get distracted and unstable, I thought it'd be better if I protected you. Logan let out a wry smile. It just means we're both paying close attention to each other. I hadn't noticed that little quirk of yours. Lily laughed, and Noah nodded in agreement. Logan continued. It's because you stand strong at the front that everyone can fight safely. I understand that. But He hesitated, lowering his gaze as he took a sip from his cup. After the toast, Zex was invited by Logan and found himself alone in his room. The light from the lantern on the table illuminated the surrounding area. The room's owner sat on the bed while Zex took a seat in a chair. I'm sorry. Logan bowed his head. I feel bad for having pushed you away when you were doing just fine. Zex panicked. No, it's probably that I unknowingly put a burden on you. If that's the case, I'll work on my shortcomings. So, I want you to let me stay by your side. He almost said it but stopped himself. No, it's not a burden at all. Logan lifted his head and looked at Zex. The reason I pushed you away was because of my personal feelings. Personal feelings? Zex tilted his head in confusion. I knew about your feelings for me. My heart skipped a beat. I had thought that my feelings might have been noticed. But hearing it stated so clearly was a first. I love you too. Probably even more than you love me. At those words, Zex's eyes widened and he gasped. He couldn't tear his gaze away from Logan's intense eyes. The lantern's flame flickered, and silence fell over the room. But I never thought I could accept you, because I was afraid of losing you. Logan lowered his gaze. I lost my family when I was a child. And friends I had grown up with to a sudden illness in my teens. They all died. I lost them without being able to do anything. And no matter how much I longed for them, they would never come back. Since then, I was afraid of loving anyone. Yet, I didn't want to admit how drawn I was to you. After a moment of silence, Logan returned his gaze to Zex. I didn't want you to die. Zex was staring at him in shock. But after a moment, he began to understand the meaning of those words. His heart tightened at the thought that Logan had been carrying such pain. You urged me to retire so I wouldn't die? I tried to keep you away from the fight. And back then, I wasn't thinking clearly. That's why I removed you from the team. But you continued your adventures alone. I regretted it. I shouldn't have put you in a place where I couldn't keep an eye on you. Zex couldn't find any words to say. He realized that Logan had been trying to protect him. If I were to lose you, I don't know what would happen to me. Logan covered his face with his hand and let out a deep sigh. Zex stood up from his chair and moved closer to Logan, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. I won't die easily. So don't make that face. Haha, how pathetic. That's not true. I understand the feeling of not wanting to lose someone important. If Logan were to disappear from this world. Zex imagined it, and it felt as if a vast emptiness was forming deep within him. The man before him had come to feel this pain more intimately. I love Logan. Please let me stay by your side. I'll make sure you don't die. As those trembling words left his lips, Logan silently stared at Zex, but soon he let out a low laugh. I was going to let you go, but you agreed to come back. And now you say you want to be by my side. I won't let you escape anymore. Logan's hand gripped Zex's hand tightly. In the next moment, he was pulled down onto the bed. Covered by Logan, those heated green eyes were fixed on him. Their faces gradually drew closer. Then, their lips descended. Logan's large hand moved to Zex's cheek, and the kiss deepened slowly. Zex didn't know the proper etiquette, but he desperately tried to respond. He still couldn't believe it was real. Even after their lips parted, his cheeks flushed, and he felt dazed. So cute. Logan squinted his eyes and murmured with a soft smile. Zex's fingers trembled. His chest felt warm. Those words made him happier than anything anyone had ever said before. I've thought this for a long time. Your beautiful eyes that gaze at me, the delicate parts of you, they're all so cute. You're a reliable man who can protect everyone. He was enveloped in a sense of happiness that seemed to spread from the depths of his heart. Zex took Logan's body in his arms and clung to him. I'm so happy. As those words slipped out, he was embraced back by Logan's warm body. As consciousness surfaced and he opened his eyes, the morning light brightened the room. For a moment, he was confused that it wasn't his own room, but then he realized he was in Logan's. Turning his body in bed, he saw Logan sleeping in his natural state right in front of him. Zex recalled the events of the previous night and felt his face flush. The feelings they had shared, the way their lips had met, the love they had made. Logan seemed unable to hold back, but Zex was equally lost in the moment. It was a time filled with satisfaction. Though he had resisted in embarrassment when Logan took care of him afterward, fearing he might get sick. In the end, he had let Logan take charge. Logan's arm pulled Zex's body closer. It seemed he had woken up without Zex noticing. A kiss was placed on his temple. Are you feeling okay? At those words, still feeling as if he were in a dream, he nodded. I can feel my eyes welling up as I gaze at Logan. Ah, you're seriously adorable, he said, pulling me into an embrace. My heart warmed with happiness. I realized it was okay to be someone who cherished those words. Don't let anyone else say it. Keep your cute side just for me. No one else thinks that way about you, Logan. When Zex laughed, Logan furrowed his brow, seemingly troubled by the lack of self-awareness. Even the parts of me I thought were pathetic. And the shield I represented, Logan accepted them. I felt a strong desire to protect this man who loved me and tried to keep me safe. As long as I am a shield, I believe I should be the first to die among the members. But I have no intention of dying. If I ever retire, if the days of fighting come to an end, then I want to live longer than Logan. Losing him first would be painful, but I want to protect his heart too. With that thought in mind, I leaned in and kissed Logan. He responded, and the atmosphere shifted once more. I surrendered to it, holding my beloved man tightly in return.